Welcome back to the Stoop, football fans. It's your boy Lolo. I'm back outside on the Stoop with all the sights and sounds of Brooklyn that you may or may not see. But it's good to be speaking to you guys. I wish I was talking to you guys under better circumstances because I, for one, was not a Bielsa out person. I wasn't a get rid of Bielsa now person. That being said, I'm also not the Leeds United fan base. So we were concerned with what we were going to do regarding Marcelo Bielsa being parting ways with the club because I didn't want to come out seeming insincere. So the best way that we felt that we could do this was by Mark, John, and I opening up the call lines and letting you guys get on here and speak your mind, because so much of the Stoop crew are Leeds United fans, and you guys have really made us fall in love with your club as much as I am an Arsenal fan and Mark is a Wolves fan. So our hearts go out to you guys. I know this is a tough situation, but maybe today we can start to open some lines of communication between you guys, between fans who are angry or happy or sad or mad, or we want to hear what you guys are feeling. So before we get started, please hit that subscribe button, the share, the like, the holy trinity of YouTube. Do all those things. Let people know right now if they're bitching about Leeds United, if they're bitching about your club, come on here and speak your mind and actually say what you're feeling and get out from behind your keyboards being tough and actually speak your mind. The call-in link is in the comments section. It's pinned to the top. Go ahead and hit it. Big up to the Stoop crew who's already here. We've seen Jimmy, Bremner's Ghost, Mr. Tom, Ben Ireland, Bono, Anders, all the regulars there. We've also got Karen C. This comment breaks my heart, Karen. And we're really feeling for you today as well. But nice seeing these other names in the comments as well, from people like Dad of Dion, or something like that. Now is Evolution, Kev McNally, good to see all you guys. Grit Cheatham, good to see you guys in there. So let me go ahead and bring in my lovely co-host first and foremost before we get all of the Leeds fans in here. Mark.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
How you doing, man? I know this show is called How You Feeling, and I know you're sick. So thank you for calling in on this show. I know it means a lot to our Leeds United
Thanks for caring.
fans.
Yeah, man, for sure. This is crazy. I didn't expect it until yesterday. You know?
Yeah.
It was one of those things where you were just gonna give them a chance and let them make it work. But yesterday's game, when Llorente ran past the ball to mark his man because that was his job, I realized that this was not going to change his system, his way of doing things. And I think from a club perspective, this is the way to stay up. From a fan perspective, you got to be pissed. From a fan's perspective, from Leeds fans, from these diehards that are on the comments right now and will soon be on the show.
Well, what we keep hearing is Marcelo Bielsa, reinvigorated a love for the team, a love for the football. There was always a love for the team, but a love for the football that they were playing, and it went from top to bottom with Marcelo Bielsa all the way from the first team all the way down to the bottom. But guys, you'll be hearing our opinions all throughout the show. I'm seeing a queue of people coming in already. So if you are backstage, please just hang tight. We will get to you. Just give us a second. We're going to get our first guest on. You guys know him from a very popular YouTube channel that I know a lot of you guys follow. It's a little channel called All Leeds TV. We've got Chris calling in. How are you, Chris? Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. It's strange, upsetting times at Leeds at the minute, mate. So no, it's nice of you to invite me on to just come and say my piece, really, pal.
All right, man. Well, let's hear it. Our fans hear Mark and I talk all week long, so we're here to hear what you think. So why don't you go ahead and break it down for us, and how are you feeling today?
Cool. Firstly, I think it's sad that it's ended this way, just because of what Marcelo has done for the football club. the city, the fans, the way he's improved a lot of the players that are in that squad right now. So it's extremely sad. I hold my hands up, mate. I said after the Spurs game on All Leeds TV that I think it's time for change because Marcelo had said, and I respect him for saying it, that he wasn't going to change the way he played. But when it comes to football, then the club's priority is to stay in the Premier League. So they've made what is a risky decision. Changing manager doesn't guarantee that we'll stay up, just like it wasn't guaranteed that we'd have gone down with Marcelo. But the decision has been made, whether people like it or not. I thank Marcelo for everything he's done. He's given me 3.5 amazing years as a Leeds fan. It's been unreal to watch. As you can see behind me, he's all over the walls. Those pictures will remain. He'll always be a hero. He's a legend at the club. I hope the club honour him in the proper way in the near future somehow. But I'm also excited for what's coming, and it obviously sounds like Jesse Marsch is on the way. So I've been delving deep today, doing a lot of research on him. And it sounds like he could be exciting and what the club need, potentially someone who can build on the great work that Marcelo's done and hopefully take this club up forwards now. So that's sort of where I sit. Other fans differ. My thoughts on saying I think it's time for change there. My views, not necessarily everyone at All Leeds TV, but as a channel, we're all very much behind the new manager when it's finally confirmed, which we'll believe will be tomorrow. And we hope the rest of the fan base, as much as Marcelo will always be here, always be in our hearts, we've got to get behind this new manager now, and hopefully the club survive this season and push on in the future. Yeah, that's where I am, mate.
Well, my biggest question with this is the reason that it feels wrong to me is that these are some giant losses, and yes, you gave up big score lines, but these are big big, huge financial clubs that are in a better place than you guys are, and you're not expected to beat them. You're about to go on a run of fixtures that look a lot more winnable. You're about to get Calvin Phillips back. You're about to get Patrick Bamford back. Not saying that things would have changed, but if they were going to change, they were going to change now. So it just looks to me like unless you get that new manager bounce, which is always a toss-up, you could lose the next couple of matches because you're in disarray when these are matches that Marcelo Bielsa would have won or at least gotten some points from. That's where I thought if it's time for Bielsa to go, it needs to be in the summer. I'm always against changing managers mid-season anyway, but
mate, I 100% appreciate that view. I do, and I think a lot of fans have said he should have been given until the summer. He'd earned the right to try and keep us up in a lot of people's views, and I can't argue with that. And it's not these recent losses that bother me so much. The manner of them does, leaking goals how we did, but we were never expected to potentially get points from them, but it's the losses such as, Everton, Newcastle, they're games we should be looking to win. And the Everton game, to be honest, was a bit of a travesty. We were dreadful. Everton, obviously, with their new manager bounce, absolutely spanked us all over the park. And I've said it before, mate, and I'll say it again. I think if not the whole dressing room, I think he's lost some of the dressing room recently. And if that's the way it's going, then there's only one person who ends up having the chop, rightly or wrongly, and that's the manager. That's just the way football works. I don't agree with it. I don't like players downing tools. I think you paid a wage, you pull on the shirt, you wear the badge, and you should put everything into it. But they've just looked a yard off it for me recently, and that screams to me that one, they're either tired, which could be a thing, or two, that they're not playing for the manager anymore, which massively concern me. But I completely understand your point of view. And as much as I said, I think it's time to go, I wouldn't have been overly upset if the club had come out and said, he's our manager to the end of the season. He's earned the right to try and keep us up. Let's get behind the manager, etc., etc. So I can completely understand that, mate, as well.
All right. So, last question before we bring in some other opinions as well. Are you doom and gloom right now, or are you hopeful?
I'm both. I'm a bit doom and gloom because of how it's ended with Marcelo, because of everything he's done and just how he's galvanised and fixed this football club from the laughingstock that it was. But I am also hopeful of the new manager coming in, what he stands for, etc., etc. So, and he has to prove himself like any new manager coming into a club does. But I've just got a funny feeling that this could be the next step in Leeds United's progression, built on the foundations that Marcelo Bielsa has put in place. So I'm a bit of both, mate.
Gotcha. We're just going to hit some of these comments before we bring on our next guest. And as I said, we'd love for you to stay on, Chris, as long as you can, as long as you feel up for it. But we've got some of these totally mixed feelings. On the one hand, Bielsa is not able to get the team out of the crisis. On the other hand, the team was too narrow from the beginning of the season. This is all Otta's fault. We've got Bob Retrovolt gutted. Yes. Ben Arizona, who runs the Arizona Leeds fan club. If Marsh has been lined up for a while to replace him in the summer, then you would imagine that he has studied the team and will have a plan. We will see. Karen C., longtime Stoop crew. If he was going to go, maybe it should have been before the January window. You've got to shout for that. Jorge from Chile says, fue un gusto conocer a Leeds, pero soy hincha de Bielsa hasta la muerte. He said it was great to know Leeds United, and I love being Leeds United, and I support Bielsa to death. I wish he wouldn't have left this way, but Rads and Orta have done nothing in 4 years. So good to see you guys. Good to see everybody in there. Scott Newby, I can't speak about him without tearing up. It will get easier in time, and the memories will always be fond. Such a polarizing issue. Yes, it is. And so we're going to bring in another voice right now. We've got the guy who made Patrick Bamford a lord, the guy who actually went out and got him his lordship somehow. We did a show with him. We haven't seen him since then. But Mr. James Bushnell, good to see you, my friend.
Polly, all right?
We're all right, man. Wish we were talking in happier circumstances like the last time we spoke.
Yeah, man.
But why don't we go ahead and get your feelings? We'll give you your 2 minutes in the sun.
And
Oh, where do I start? I'm absolutely devastated it's ended this way for him. I went up to Four Parks today. I waited from 12:30. He finally came out to see the fans that had gathered there. And I didn't want him to sign anything. I didn't want a picture. I just wanted to tell him that man made me fall in love with football again. He galvanised our city. He brought us together. The music fans were making about the team and about himself, and the artwork around the city that was done. He just brought a different feel to the club from the minute he was there, from that game at Stoke, from that very first moment. So I shook him by the hand and I said, thank you for making me fall in love with football again. And my wife gave him a cuddle and said she was very sorry and that we loved him. And she cried and he started to cry. And I was just like, oh man, this is too much for me. I'm done. So I'm upset about it. I'm really upset about it. I think he deserved the chance to try keep us up. And I fully understand the reasons why. I get it. I fully get the results weren't good enough. But I honestly think with the games coming up, he had it. What he could have turned that around. He could have turned that around. I mean, there were only a few weeks ago, we beat West Ham and he was the best thing since sliced bread. But that's the cutthroat nature of football, and if you don't get the results, sadly the crowd had started to boo at the weekend. And like I've said on Twitter, I said if you boo, you say you're booing the players, but the players don't get sacked. I think Chris said it. They didn't look like they were. For some reason this season, they haven't looked like they believed in the system as much as they have in the past. I don't know what's gone on there. But yeah, for me, it just feels like he could have got us out of this situation. So I'm pretty heartbroken at the minute as it stands. Everybody's talking about the new manager, but for me, I'm sorry, that's like putting a dog down and buying a new puppy on the same day. I'm not ready for that yet. And I think this has been preordained for a bit. I heard 2 weeks ago the name Jesse Marsh thrown about and that they were lining up this replacement. It's just another bungle by the club, really. And if they learnt nothing in the 3.5 years that Marcelo Bielsa has been in charge, it's to show some dignity, some pride, a bit of respect to people, and carry yourself in a way that you'd like to be treated by other people. And he's been treated like dirt towards the end there. To have it leaked out by TalkSport last night that he was gone, and leaked out by numerous other people attached to the club that he was gone, was a disgrace. He deserved more than that. He deserved a statement yesterday from the club. Not this.
That was shocking. That was absolutely shocking.
I agree.
That was not. That is not what we've come to know of the new Leeds United, and that was
exactly, yeah. I thought we had a different setup in charge. I thought that had changed, but really, when I looked back over it, I thought to myself, well, no, these are the same people that took our team to Myanmar. These are the same people who changed our badge and supposedly asked 10,000 fans whether they thought it was a good idea, And I just think to myself, for a media mogul, as he's supposed to be, Radziani, he's made himself look a bit bloody stupid, if I'm honest. And I think that smacks in the face that this was preordained way before the Spurs game even kicked off. I wouldn't be surprised if the decision was made prior.
Yeah, so you brought up something here. Oh, and a couple people are asking, are you the guy from the tweet earlier? And I think, Phil Hay or somebody quote tweeted you, didn't they?
Yeah.
Talking about hugging Marcelo Bielsa. So, I mean, that story, Karen says you have her in tears right now. But I wanted to ask...
So
I was up tears.
I have a question. You were saying, that this dismissal had been kind of preordained or pre-planned. How far back do you think that the club was thinking about doing this? Is this maybe why they didn't bring anybody on in January? That they had been planning toward this?
I think it's very strange that every player we were linked to in January, Minamino and Aronson.
Van de Beek.
But those two were RB Leipzig players that Marshall know. So I think maybe even back then he was maybe in the know of what was maybe going on. I mean, I did rumours 2 weeks prior to this that Otta had meetings with Marsh and possibly this could be a replacement for next season, which I understood Marcelo was never going to stay at Leeds United forever. I'd have loved him to stay forever. I think a lot of people would, if we were getting the results and things were good, people didn't want him to go.
Absolutely. Let me ask James and Chris, because you guys are over there and you guys maybe even get out to games clearly way more than we do, and you're seeing a new Leeds United fan base. You guys have been supporters forever, I'm assuming. You guys have known them for most of your lives in a darker age of them. But if you think about it, 16 years, 17 18 years ago, if you're a 20-year-old kid supporting Leeds United, you've never known success, or maybe you never even supported them, and then the past few years you start supporting them. Are those the fans that we're hearing at halftime boo off the team? Because everything that I've heard about Leeds United fans is if Manchester United score, it'll get louder at Ellen Road, as opposed to booing off. The booing off just seemed so not what I'm used to, but is that something that would normally happen? Is that new Leeds fans? You guys get where I'm trying to...
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I've been at many games in the past where fans have booed, so it's not a new thing to hear it, but, on the same scheme of things, I think it had got to a point where the crowd had turned, against the team. Because to me, when you boo the team, you're turning against the backroom staff. You're turning against everything that team stands for, basically. And I know you can say, well, we pay our money, And you're allowed to be, upset, and you're allowed to be just, what's the word? Oh, I can't even think of the word. But you're allowed to be upset. But I don't condone booing. I just think it points the finger at the wrong people, and then the wrong people take the fall. I've had people message me that have been at the game and booed, and yet have phoned me today crying, saying that they can't believe Bielsa's gone. So,
Chris, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've been at Ellen Road back in the day when booing was a weekly occurrence, to be honest with you. But it's the first time I think we've seen it under Marcelo, and quite rightly, we haven't seen it under Marcelo. Again, I'm not a fan of booing, but I can sit here and say I'm not a fan of it. But what happens in the heat of the moment when you're frustrated and angry, and pretty much like James said, then your emotions can get the better of you. I wasn't there for the Spurs game. It is one of the few I've missed this season at Ellen Road. So yeah, but I think James is right. It just felt online as well. Never mind in the ground. The swathe of support was turning, and as much as not people saying I want him gone, but people were saying, why can't you see where it's going wrong? We all seem to be able to see it, and none of us confess to be a Marcelo Bielsa. Do you know what I mean? But it just felt. It just felt like it was turning, and I think when it gets like that, then the writing starts to be on the wall, doesn't it, at some point?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I tweeted earlier on during the games and stuff. I tweeted that there doesn't seem to be a plan B, C, D, or E, or even F. But that in no way meant that I wanted him to leave. I think he's tactically sound enough to put a new tactic in, but on board to see us through to the end of the season, and I think he would have done it.
Gotcha. Oh,
I do have a question, and I'm not sure if it was Chris or James or maybe the both of you that mentioned this, that the locker room was kind of pulling away or gravitating away from Bielsa. Or losing the locker room. I've been saying for many, many shows about the disinterest of Rafinha. And a lot of people retorted saying, oh, he's tired. He's been playing a lot. He's, this, that, or the other thing. Do you think that Rafinha's disinterest had something to do or was included in with the number of reasons why Bielsa was sacked, if you will?
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
We're not in his head, are we? I think for Rafinha, what I've seen over the past few weeks is his levels haven't been where they should have been or where they have been previously. I agree. I don't know if it's born out of just pure frustration of how things have been going. I don't know, but I think maybe he's, as someone says, maybe he's in the departure lounge now, and he'll move on to bigger things at another club. I'd see him going to a PSG or a Barca in the summer potentially. I don't know, and I'll be sad if Rafa goes because he's lit up Ellen Road last season and a half.
Yeah. For me, I think he heard. I mean, it's got to be hard as a player when you're maybe, being touted for £50 million moves and one thing or another. But he seems to, whether it's a travel thing from going to Brazil, and he's not used to it or whatever, and doing those trips and then coming back, he's not looked the same player since he came back from his last trip out to Brazil. He's looked, as Chris said, whether it's tiredness or frustration that things aren't going too well. But his body language in the last couple of games hasn't been great, to be fair, and sadly, it's like, he could be sat in the departure lounge ready to go.
Yeah. All right, let me ask you, James, are you doom and gloom or are you hopeful?
I'm doom and gloom today. I'll probably be doom and gloom for a little bit because I love Bielsa. I've got the tattoo of him on my leg, and he'll always be with me. He made me absolutely fall in love with the football again. Talking to other fans about Bielsa, they say that you'll try compare the football to what you had, and it'll never compare to what you had. So in a way, I'm a bit doom and gloom, but on the other hand, you've got to kick on now, and hopefully we can survive with whether it's Jesse Marsh or whoever gets put in charge. But it looks like that's who it's going to be. So you have to kick on, don't you, and just support the lads. And I'll be there against Aston Villa, and I'll no doubt chant Marcelo's name and show him my support, and hopefully he'll hear that if he watches us. I'd like to think he would watch us. But then maybe he's sick of watching Leeds United. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, before we bring on more guests that are waiting so patiently, last words before you go on this situation, Chris, James?
For me, it's like I say, it's just a massive thank you to him. I mean, as you can see from James, some of our fan base, I mean, are absolutely distraught, and quite rightly, for everything that he's done. And it's so tough because it has split the fan base in so many different directions, this. But I just we should pay respect to Marcelo. We should thank him for everything he's done. He will always be part of Leeds United now. And I do hope the club honour him in some way. And I do have to actually step back a little bit and agree with James. This is my personal opinion, not that of everyone at All Leeds TV, but I do think it was shockingly handled, this as well. I completely agree with that. I think the least the man deserved was a bit of respect if this was going to happen. I think the Jesse Marsh thing, I think it's been brought forward. I think he was lined up for the summer, and I think it's been brought forward. But thank you to Marcelo. But the club lives on. The players are still there. The fans will still be there, I hope. And I hope they all get behind the new manager while still completely showing respect for what we've lost, but let's get behind the new manager. And the first things first, let's make sure this team stays in the Premier League for me.
Yeah, I second that. Absolutely. Every last word of it.
Well said.
Every last word of it. It's just, you've got to kick on now, haven't we? And sadly move on. And that the period we had with Marcelo was fantastic. It was a great ride. He wasn't going to stay forever, and like you say, Chris, I think he was going to leave in the summer. But yeah, just a massive thank you to Marcelo Bielsa and all his backroom staff and his interpreter, everybody who are his disciples of football, as they're known as around the world. Just thank you for what has been an amazing 3.5 years of football. It's crazy football at times, but absolutely brilliant. First class entertainment.
Well, thank you guys for calling in. Feel free to stick around and stay on. But if you want to head out, you can head out. But we're going to bring some new people on to speak their minds. All right. I won't be offended if you back out of the show.
Thanks for having me on, mate.
Thank you so much, Chris. We'll see you again.
See you guys.
All right. Okay, so now we'll bring in the person who's been waiting the longest here. Thank you so much again, James. You guys know him. He's on a lot of our shows these days, and I know he got a lot of stick because people were thinking he was screaming Bielsa out immediately, but he's here to sort of clarify and talk about how he's feeling now. So Ben Ireland, get on here, my friend.
Hi guys.
How are you, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's sad. It's a sad day. I didn't want him to go, and especially not like this. I wanted him at least to have until the summer to try and change it. But it's like Chris just said, his refusal to change his philosophy, which again I've got respect for, sort of was his nail in his coffin. And I think the manner of the results didn't help. I think if we'd have got beat 1-0 here and there, he'd still be there now. But I mean, I don't have anything against what anybody else thinks. It's a sad day for Leeds. I mean, the end of a love affair is always going to hurt. I'm a bit apprehensive about the future. I've not looked into this other guy just yet. Still sort of coming to terms with life without Bielsa.
Yeah, man. Tough. We're gonna bring on your cohort these days. You guys always seem to be on together anyway, so we're gonna bring him on, hear what he thinks, and then we'll start a discussion with that. And we see you, Steve. We'll get to you. You're next, Steve. So hang tight. And to let you know, Dad of Dion, there's not too many waiting backstage if you do want to call in. Don't forget, everybody, the link is up in the top of the comment section if you want to come on and speak your mind. Mr. Tom. Calling in from the sad dungeon. You do not look happy, my friend. I'm used to seeing you in a bit better spirits. So, let's hear it, my friend. How are you?
Well, it feels like somebody died, hasn't it? And I'm sad. I'm angry, but I'm more sad than angry. I think the way he was treated was disgraceful, considering, with all due respect, when I say this, keep in mind this is how we used to be. When he joined us, we were a fucking shambles as a club. He lowered himself to join us and help drag us out of the fucking abyss of football known as the Championship. And then the second it gets a bit tetchy that we might be ending up back there, they're like, see you, Marcelo. And now, don't get me wrong, in a few weeks or few months, if we survive, we're all going to sit here and go, well done, Rads, well done, Outta, you made the right decision. But right now, his body is still warm on the slab, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I think the thing that everyone is going to be most upset about is the way this happened. Even if it had to happen, it was not something that needed to be leaked during the match. It was leaked. Terrible. It is not something that needs to be on TalkSport of all fucking channels.
Right.
It does not need to be something like right now we can't even say Bielsa sacked. Bielsa walked away. Bielsa, like the best way I could put it was Leeds and Bielsa part ways, because we don't even know. We should not even be talking about this unless it's been officially released and come out. And I thought you guys had a better back room than that.
Well,
and we're seeing that.
We go down, Lolo, there's a new song title for you, The Day the Football Died.
The day that football died. Say bye-bye to this Bielsa guy.
Don't give away your lyrics just yet.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. But yes, I hear what you're saying. With Bielsa's... with what Bielsa has done in the past, and I know he hasn't won anything really, but with his football acumen and the amount of people that love him and revere him, the coaches that revere him, I can see what you mean by him lowering himself to go to a championship team. So it's tough. Ben, what do you think of Mr. Tom's statements?
I don't think so much lowered himself. We're still Leeds United. We're still massive club. European finals, European trophies, 3 titles in England. We're not. I get what he meant by it. We was in the abyss in the Championship. Nobody wanted to touch us. The club was in the fucking shambles, and I agree with everything he said. He came and he sorted it all out. Not just the football club, but the people around the football club. People around the city got together, and it's a sad day for everyone. I mean, even the people that I think maybe not all of the people that were booing yesterday, but a percentage of them I feel didn't want it to end like this. Probably nobody wanted to see him treat this way. I mean, they should have done it a bit better. Leaked on TalkSport, it's absolutely disgusting. By all accounts, whatever the result yesterday was already done. So
with this being said, with the leaking onto TalkSport, with Phil Hay already having an article written, and match that with the effort that was actually put out by your boys on the pitch, do you think they knew?
Oh, I think they had to. They were
didn't
downright
pretend
awful.
they didn't have anyone? Do what they used to do and go, oh, we're going to do a manager search. Now, it's the done thing. You have your replacement in mind before you sack someone. It's embarrassing. You expect this shit from the top 6.
How much pressure do you think he got from the 49ers on this?
Oh, loads.
I don't think the 49ers give a shit. The 49ers just probably
They're
told
worried
him,
about
hey,
what
if
to
you
do
go
with our
down...
quarterback. They are not paying attention to
Yeah,
this.
the 49ers maybe said, if you go down, we're not going to invest more. If you stay up, we'll invest more. And that just freaks them out.
Yeah.
Maybe, if anything was said. And what's up, Allison and Marty from Ireland? Good to see you.
It's more advantageous to the 49ers financially if we did go down because they'd get us for cheaper.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it would then still cost them to get us back into the Premiership. So ultimately, they invested at a low level and got us into the Premiership. So they're still getting us for a bargain because they've already got their foot in the door.
Yeah,
But,
they've paid for half of it already.
yeah. But I just think it's shambolic and it's disrespectful to the club, the city, and everything that got behind that machine.
I also think there was a lot of pressure from non-Leeds United outlets like the media and all sticking a 2 pence in, not having a clue what Bielsa and Leeds United were about. If anyone's entitled to the opinion, it's the fans, not the outside journalists, not the fucking idiots.
We're the only ones that are still going to be around.
Exactly.
If Radrazani decides he doesn't want his toy anymore and fucks off, we're still the ones that are going to be watching the games, going on the internet and talking about it. Phillips, we love Calvin Phillips, but he could well fuck off at some point. Rodrigo's going to fuck off. Rafinha's going to fuck off. Otta's going to fuck off. Everyone who works for the club is going to fuck off at some point. We're the ones carrying the can, and we're the ones that actually matter.
Exactly. That's why it's
Wow.
a family game.
That's intense.
Well, guys, we've had this one of our Leeds fans here waiting for a long time, and so I'm going to just add him into the mix.
Are you calling a substitution?
Not a substitution. I'm an additional man on.
I've got to have my vitals checked. And
okay, sub Mark out.
Fluid, so I'm going to sub out. Very sorry, everyone, about Marcelo. It should have been done differently, and I wish Leeds the best.
Get well soon.
All right, Mark.
Cheers.
All right. So let's go ahead and bring in Stephen Manning. What's going on, Steve? Good to see you, man.
How's things?
Good, man.
Doing all right.
Yeah. Well, a sad day.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and speak your piece? We'll highlight you
like
for a second.
Else, I'm just disgusted. I think it's massively ironic that one of the gentlemen in the world, in fact, probably the only gentleman in the world's game, has been treated so shabbily, absolutely shabbily. For it to first leak out on Talkshite radio to start with, there seems to be no appreciation of the man's service. I'm just horrified, actually.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So, are you in a doom and gloom sort of? We're going down, or are you just still in mourning, or what? Where would you say, Steve?
If you ask James Reeves in New Orleans, who I'm in constant touch with, he can inform you the fact that I've been doom and gloom for about 3 months now.
Oh wow!
I actually saw this happening. As soon as we didn't invest in a painfully weak squad, as soon as we left the only probably star players in the squad through injury, I just thought that's it. And I don't think changing things now is helping this squad, because this is a squad that's shaped in his form, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got the maximum out of this.
He really has, hasn't he? I mean, it's turned these
someone's going to find it hard to do. Yeah, it's going to have to be a very subtle change.
Well, they might just go 4-4-2 and play a simpler game and a less expansive game. Because let's face it, you can't leak this amount of goals and have any hope of staying up. Admittedly against superior teams, but even so.
Well, I mean,
Everton was appalling. You know.
Yes. I think the performance is. I don't even think that it's the amount of goals that are being let in, because you guys under Marcelo Bielsa, you're high risk, high reward. Oh, yeah, that's the way he plays. Yeah. But it was the actual performances. It was the clearly being found out. It was, as Mark pointed out with Llorente yesterday,
Yeah.
Where it was like, oh, that's not my man. Here's my man, and the guy with the ball runs right past it. It was one of these like confusion. It just looked like they forgot how to play any system. To me, it was. I don't even know where I'm going with that. I'm trying to not be too. I don't know. I'm still in shock as well. I don't think it was the right time. I think Marcelo Bielsa could win these next 3 matches or so.
I think we have winnable games left. Absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
But would a new man do it? I just don't know. I'm in shock. I've been semi-expecting this, but even it's still a shock. He's been such a massive part of this club since he came here, and I kind of agree with the point that he did lower himself. Maybe isn't the right expression, but he definitely took a risk joining a championship club, massive as we are, and he made us a Premier League club.
Absolutely.
Then I think there was massive arrogance at boardroom level, which expected us to stay there without any more investment or hard work. I said at the time, to avoid doing a Sheffield United here, we'd have to stay at this game and strengthen season by season, and we didn't do it, did we? We signed Furpo. I think that's the only major investment, and the jury's out on that case.
Yeah.
We still spent 40 million, 45 million in the summer, didn't we?
Yeah, we all forget that we actually paid 30 million for Dan James. We just assume
I forgot about Dan James,
I forget about Dan James when we talk about that.
You forget about Dan James because we're playing him where we should be playing Joffrey.
I agree.
I just mean when we talk about transfers,
right.
and I have the habit of going, we only bought Furpo, but we didn't.
Right.
We actually
overlooked it.
Yeah, because we bought Dan James fucking 3 seasons earlier.
That was why I always made that mistake.
And then we tried as much as Scum did.
We're not.
If we do get relegated, if we do get relegated, at least we got a new pitch out of the deal. So
we've got someone to blame it on, but I just think we ain't got time to mourn this. We've just got to straight back in it at the weekend and
buckle down and play these last
just get
12
behind.
games.
Get behind the players, whatever we've got to do, because it's going to be a monumental effort to stay up now. I don't know about the American guy. His CV don't look brilliant, but
no. Well, like the currency says right here, too few matches left for a new man to make a big difference. Bono, can you imagine if Everton and Spurs had Marcelo Bielsa? That's here. That all goes to this comment. Elmo saying Bielsa only came to a championship club to play his football. Rads in order failed to recruit players for the Prem that can Bielsa press. To press, you need pace. Players too slow, no midfield. So to me, it's like, can you imagine Everton or Spurs playing? I can't imagine any Premier League playing it. It would have to be built from the ground up, which is what he was doing. I think you guys are hitting it right. You needed to recruit in the summer and you needed to recruit more in the winter.
The best bit of business we did was obviously Rafinha, but I just feel that we got offered players where if we hadn't bought Rodrigo and we hadn't bought Firpo, we could have had 2 or 3 of these players with the prices they were going at. And there were players like O'Brien and there's players that fit Bielsa's system. Rodrigo, I still to this day don't know why we bought him. I don't blame him. He's not.
Because they thought Patrick Bamford would be shit.
But then he's not a Bamford number 9. He's a false 9 at best.
Yeah. I think they thought that.
I just don't. It bewilders me, and I don't blame Rodrigo because he tried. I know he's not the greatest defensively.
To be fair, though, when we signed Rodrigo, he was Spain's starting centre forward.
Yeah, he was, but it was more a false 9.
That's not saying much. That's not saying much, and I'm a Spain supporter. That's not saying much. Okay, guys, we've got somebody else waiting backstage. A longtime Stoop crew member, big supporter of the show as well. Lifelong Leeds United fan, and the way he talks about Leeds United, he must be like 800 years old because he talks about back in 1919. What's going on, Bandy?
Hey,
Good to see you, mate.
how's the audio?
Sound good. You're coming in clear, and we're getting hypnotized. Is that say back there? But trust the process. Trust in rides.
Aye.
What does that say, Bandy?
Well,
How are you?
I'm like Mr. Tom, man. You know, I'm in mourning. You know, what can I say? You know, there's so much people suffering around the world, and I'm just devastated about this. It's awful. It really is awful. I mean, the new chap that comes in, the one thing he may do that I might enjoy is play 2 centre forwards. That'll be nice. But imagine if we do go down. You know, the championship is a war of attrition. I mean, is he going to be able to cope with that? I think not.
At least we've got Tyler Roberts.
Well, we do have the mighty Tyler Roberts.
That's Tyro. Tyro.
Are you trying to wind me up? Are you trying to wind me up then? Trying to seriously wind me up? Bringing up Tyler fucking Roberts on a day like this?
Tyro Lannister.
But yeah, mate, it's just devastating news. I don't know what's going to become of us. I really don't know what's going to happen to us now.
Sorry, gentlemen, I've got to head out. It's nice meeting you, Stephen.
And you
Take
too,
care,
mate.
everyone.
Take care, Tom.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tom.
Keep the
Keep
faith,
fighting.
mate.
Mr. Tom, keep your chin up. Rock and spar with your chin up.
Yeah, man. And just so everybody knows, there is room backstage if you guys want to get in and call in. The link is up at the top. If you like the show so far, please hit all those buttons. They mean a lot to us, and they keep us going and able to show love to clubs that aren't my own as well. So, but Bandy, getting back to you, do you think, are you doom and gloom? Is this going to send you guys down?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's going to send us down, man. But you know, where there's life, there's hope. But I fear that if we do go down, it's going to be a struggle to get back in. You know, really, it's going to be a struggle. I don't think this chap is going to be able to do it for us.
I think the one thing we have got going in this relegation battle is I think 2 teams are definitely down for me, and it's 1 of 5. So it's still a tight race that we can survive, you know. Just got to win the games around us.
Oh, there's plenty games for us to play and get enough points to stay in. It's the confidence of the players. Of course, you do get a bit of a boost with a new coach.
Would you not go with like the backroom staff and Mark Jackson to see it out? Would that not make sense?
It's not a bad shout.
You see, Mark Jackson will be playing that sort of football, but maybe with his tweak on it, or it's not going to be massively a culture shock, is it? You know, the training will be the same, things like that. It's just maybe,
as a matter of fact, Ben,
or whatever.
As a matter of fact, Ben, that's a great shout. It really is. It keeps the continuity going.
And Joffrey will get a game for definite.
Well, yeah, we'd all love to see that.
Well, I'm surprised Mark didn't mention it when he was here, but I guess he was trying to keep you guys on his side. But he was like, they should look into Nuno. If they want somebody to just park the bus and get 1 point all the way. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
I don't want to hear anything about Big Sam.
No, Big Sam. So guys, we've got somebody else waiting backstage. Do you mind if I bring him on? Let's just continue this chat.
Bring him on.
All right, we got Russ. Russ, I'm not sure if is Zlatan Ibrahimovic calling in.
Hi, big guys, you okay?
Yeah, man. You were frozen at a weird moment. But good to see you. We can see you. We can hear you. Where are you calling in from?
From Rotherham in South Yorkshire.
Ah, cool.
All the way
All right,
let's South Yorkshire.
Good. Let's hear your thoughts on the situation.
For me personally, I would have given until the end of the season. It's especially because we've had Cooper, Phipps, Bamford. They've been out since December. They're coming back short. Until they come back, see how he did with those players back, Cooper, Phillips, and Bamford, and then maybe if we still weren't picking up results, then let him go. Then we'll see how he did with the players coming back. We've lost the span of the team, and if you look at Liverpool when they span of their team out, they struggled in the Premier League and in Europe. They did have their span of the team in, and I think that's what the main problem is for us as well. We're struggling with my team, which is actually missing at this moment in time.
So, Russ, unfortunately, I think your connection is making you a little choppy, but what I got from that was you were saying that Marcelo Bielsa isn't necessarily the problem. It's been more lacking the spine of your team, the good players of your team, the ones who actually are Premier League caliber. Is that what you're saying? Was that?
I think that's the gist of what he was saying. Can I just
Sorry, you're choppy. You're choppy, Russ.
Can I just counter punch
Because we're missing like the Cooper, Phillips, Bamford, Reeves.
I'm just going to counter punch that.
You do get frozen in great positions.
We've been missing important players pretty much most of the season, and for the last 10 games or so, we've been missing the spine of the team. And yes, that's a major contributing factor to the results we've been getting. But the football needed to change for the type of players we had. Look, Marcelo Bielsa put himself in between a rock and a hard place with the club. And look, full respect to him for sticking with his principles and his system. And I don't take that away from him. But ultimately, the players we had available weren't good enough for the system.
How does this comparison feel? Because I feel like it's a tough day for a lot of people, especially the likes of like you, Ben, who you were saying it may be time for him to go, not mid-season, but we may be looking at a time that it's time to go. For me, like there's a lot of mourning going on, yet there's a lot of it kind of need to happen. Like it feels to me like you were with a single mom, not doing very well. You're like barely eating one day a week, and then she starts dating this guy who adopts you and brings you out of poverty, but he's just not really great with your mom. He's great with you, but he's not good with your mom. And then they get divorced, and now like you're not starving anymore, but you're afraid that you're going to go back to the shambles that you lived in when it was just you and your mom. Does that make? I guess I'm watching it as a movie.
I don't think any.
I'm just trying to get the feeling, because you guys feel like you're split of you're hurt, but you're hopeful, but you're.
I don't think any one of us can say we don't understand why it's happened, because we all know why it's happened. I mean, the way it's happened is what's sore. And maybe the timing of it. I think if he was going to do it, he should have done it in January, where another manager's got time to buy and he's got time to assess and change the philosophy. The timing stinks. The way they've done it stinks, and that's what hurts. We all understand we've got to look forward to a new era and get behind the team. And anything that we don't, the unknown, it's always going to be risky, isn't it? But only time's going to tell.
I think the only thing that we, the fans, can scream about is perhaps the transfer windows and the closed season window, where but the fact is none of us know the truth about that. Some say it's the board, some say it's Bielsa. We don't know the truth.
Yeah. And Bandy, I was listening to Radio Leeds earlier on this afternoon. This evening, they did a Radio Leeds special about Bielsa and on his departure today, and it sounds like from there, it looks like Angus Kinnear may be leaving as well, and apparently Angus Kinnear wants to keep Bielsa. Angus Kinnear wants to keep Bielsa now, but Victor Outta and Andrea Radrizani wanted to get rid now, but Angus Skinner wanted to stay, and they overruled him. So it looks like Angus Skinner may end up resigning in the near future as well.
Oh dear.
And
Oh dear me.
I've seen, and I don't know if you've seen on social media, the fans have been down in Thorpe Arch, where Bielsa's been today, was signing autographs. And as he was leaving, seen a video where he's coming out of Thorpe Arch, he was clapping. The fans were clapping. He stopped, shook a few hands, and signed an autograph, and then drove away. I think he was translator on one of his back himself. We were driving him away from Thorpe Arch to take him home, but there were loads of fans down there, and he came out earlier and had photos with kids and everything earlier on as well. And I've seen with, and I heard a rumour last night on another channel on YouTube that they saw an email which said that we could have signed Luis Diaz, who played for Liverpool, who now plays for Liverpool from Porto, and Bielsa turned Luis Diaz down.
We've heard it all.
I wouldn't believe that for a second, because West Ham were into him. West Ham were into him, and I could see him turning down Van de Beek and Dele Alli, as people are saying, because they do not hustle. Luis Diaz is like a Bielsa. Bielsa would love Luis Diaz. He runs his ass off, and he plays. The thing that happened was Liverpool were going to sign Luis Diaz in the summer. West Ham went in for him and started talking to him. So Liverpool went, oh, no. And so they jumped the gun and they took him. I'm sorry to say, but if his options were Leeds United, West Ham, and Liverpool, it's the reverse order. He's going to Liverpool, he's going to West Ham, then he would go to Leeds.
Let's say Leeds have turned down Van de Beek, Luis Diaz, whoever. You don't know why they've turned them down. You don't know how much money they cost, what demands they wanted, what they're like in the dressing room.
Exactly, Ben.
Doesn't matter what. You can only look at what we bring in, not what we don't bring in.
Yeah, and
as for the 49ers, I mean, good grief.
Yeah,
are they to be trusted?
I've been seeing today as well that Minamino, who we went in for, and the players who we went in for, and Brendan Aronson, they would fit into Jesse Marsh's style of play, which is why I was going to try and sign those
Brendan Aronson,
two players.
He's a Red Bull player, isn't he? So,
and the 49ers were pumping the money in to go on Minamino and Brendan Aronson to sign them in January, but Bielsa didn't want those kind of players in. If we got rid of Bielsa before January and then got Marsh in, I think we probably would have signed Minamino.
Look, I think
we'll
find out anyway.
In January.
Someone will ask him whenever he does an interview next or whatever. You will find out, but there's no point listening to any speculation, any articles of who we could have had, what we could have had. The situation is we haven't got them players. We've no longer got Bielsa. So we've got to just pray, hope, have faith, get behind what we've got.
All right, so guys, let me know who is the coach. Let's forget about any rumors. Let's forget about who you're linked with. Let's forget about all this. And just let me ask you, if you could have any coach, if you could have Pep Guardiola, if you could have Bielsa, if you could have anybody, who do you think right now could come in and take you on a winning run? And who would you dream of? Even in history, even historically. You could say
Diego Simeone.
Diego
Simeone.
The anti-Bielsa.
Well, imagine him and Victor Water together. Could you imagine that?
Wow.
Right now in a serious
Grid says Klopp. Jurgen Klopp, anybody?
I'd just like to keep it in-house for now, just to get us through this Premier League, and then have a look in the summer. That's my personal opinion.
For me, one person I think who would probably do a good job, who was under Bielsa, and he was under 23's coach as well, and he's doing a good job at Huddersfield at this moment. Carlos Cobran, I think, because he knows the majority of the players, and my uncle said he was his first choice once Bielsa left. So maybe we could have fetched him in, but I don't think where Huddersfield are in the championship table, he would leave Huddersfield to come back to Leeds now. Maybe say if Huddersfield didn't get promoted, maybe he then will make, and we didn't fetch Marsh out and say if Marsh comes in now but then leaves in the summer, maybe Carlos could make come in the summer. But with Marsh, he plays the same style of Bielsa, and I think that's why we've gone with Jesse Marsh. But from what I've seen of videos and from what I've heard from people who's played under him, his style is more like a Jurgen Klopp style. So say he plays out on the wing, he'll put 5 players on that player out on the wing to mark them, but then have 3 players in the middle. So when we get the ball, we'll press it into one of the 3 in the middle to have a quick counter attack, which will then leave oppositions outnumbered, because they'll all be thinking how can we get through all this, and then we've got big space to break, stay on the opposite side. So then there's a lot of space for us to work in, so it could work in his favour with Martian. And he also likes to play 2 up top. So I think with Bielsa, if Bamford's
I like that.
out, if Bamford is out, which he looks like he will be for Leicester, I wonder at the moment with the players that we've got, maybe Joffe and Rodrigo, or Joffe and Roberts up top in his first game till Bamford's back, and then Bamford and Joffe maybe for the rest of the season till Bamford's back. Maybe because he likes playing 2 up top, and also apparently he likes to play with 2 defensive midfielders as well. So when KP's back, it'll probably be KP and Forshaw in the defensive, so like a 4-2-1, 4-2-3, 4 with 2 up top. It's like 4-2-4 kind of
Does anyone
formation
know
with 2 up top and 2 wide players.
Is available now? Is March available now, or is it? I read it was the end of the season. It was available.
Stevie, he was due to be coming in at the end of the season because that's when the board expected Bielsa to be gone. Yeah. But he's available now because he's a free agent.
Oh, is he? Right. I wasn't sure
he left Leipzig. He left Leipzig. I think it was in December.
Right.
So he's available now, and we fast tracked him in.
Yeah.
And Outta was already speaking to him behind the scenes, ready in case because I had a feeling this would be probably Bielsa's last season at Leeds anyway. So I was speaking to him just in case he left at the end of the season to fetch him in.
I think the BBC website says he's already in.
Really?
I think so.
Well, that would make more sense.
According to what Adam Purpose said, he says, from what he's being told, there's going to be no announcement tonight. There could be, and the club have told Radio Leeds, the BBC, and all the other media outlets who cover Leeds in Yorkshire, like Yorkshire Evening Post, Leeds Live, places like that.
Yeah.
The announcement on the new boss is likely to be, there could be an announcement tomorrow, but they said hopefully tomorrow the club are hoping for that, and they tried to get a representative from the club on the Radio Leeds special tonight. Well, the club said they wouldn't speak tonight to the media, they'll be speaking tomorrow instead. So that makes me wonder that they're sorting out Marsh's contract and the details tonight to be announced tomorrow, and then do a press conference tomorrow unveiling Jesse Marsh.
All right, guys. Well, we're about to call it a wrap on the show, but I wanted to ask you guys a couple of questions before we go. So if we can go around, let me ask you right now: had Bielsa stayed, do you guys think he would have kept you up?
Yes.
When
let's start with you, Bandy. Go ahead.
When you're on a slippery slope like that, it generally means that you are going to go down. You're going to sink like a ship, like a stone, But I feel he would have done it for us. And furthermore, I feel if we would have survived, he would have made a hell of an effort to really make a statement next season. And that's my thoughts on it.
All right, Ben, would you guys have stayed up with Bielsa?
I think just with the winnable games that we do have left and possibility of players coming back, I think we would have just stayed up. But all right,
Steve.
Go on, sorry, carry on.
Wow. I predicted us to be relegated months ago, so I sound a bit of a hypocrite if I said that we would stay up. But I've seen enough in certain games to think that we could get points against Norwich and Brentford and these teams. I don't know. You just can't answer that, can you? It's so hard. I would have to say no. I think we're on that slope. I really do. I've seen relegated teams before in my lifetime at Leeds. 3 of them, I think, in fact. And this has the feeling of a relegated side. So I'll say no.
All right. Russ, what do you think? If Bielsa had stayed throughout the season, would he have kept you guys up?
I think he would, because reason being, we've got Cooper coming back, Shirley Phillips and Bamford coming back. They're 3 key players to how we play. If you just look at the amount of goals we've conceded since Cooper and Calvin went off against Brentford, we've conceded majority of our goals that we've conceded without Cooper and Phillips in the team. I know Bamford won the bench and came on in that Brentford game, but with those 2 starting, we've conceded the most without those 2 in the starting lineup. So with those on the verge of coming back, likely to be for the Villa game, all 3 of them is likely to be for the Villa game when they're coming back, I think we would have stayed up. And I think no the definite answer, because he's gone now. But say if we go down with Jesse Marsh, some people may say, well, Bielsa kept us up. If we stay with Jesse Marsh, some people might say they probably won't stay. Bielsa probably wouldn't have kept us up. The change was the right thing. So there's going to be conflicting opinions from all the fan base. Well, as it stands at the moment, we all need to stick together, get behind Jesse Marsh or whoever comes in to our club next. Bielsa will go down as a legend and will always be welcome back. Gracias, Marcelo.
Here.
All right.
Here.
Okay, so final question. With the situation as it stands today, you guys staying up? I'm getting hot takes on the show, guys. Hot takes right here. I need to be able to rewind this in a few months and say, "Oh, but Bandy said, but Ben said."
My final thought is, go Huddersfield do murder ball in training.
It makes you wonder.
I'm not going to put an answer to that. Yeah, I can't tell you until I see the first couple of games of what would. Ask me after Villa, I'll tell you.
New broom, sweep, clean. Who knows?
New manager bounce.
That's the sort of thing we're looking for, but
who
knows?
Some new manager bounces may not work because the all backroom staff has gone with Bielsa as well. So all new backroom staff coming in with his new manager. It sounds of it from what and the Pope says. He says it's not being confirmed. But look, from what he knows, all the backroom staff have left. So I think we probably will stay up. And like I said, we've got to get behind the team now. Whoever comes in, get behind them, get behind the team. And I'm wondering, with the performances of late, whether Bielsa was just because Rafinha's not all the same player for a number of games now. Yes, he came on and changed against Manchester United. But
does that mean Tyler Roberts has gone? Was it because he was backroom staff, wasn't he?
No, but he's still there at this moment in time. But
you watch it. He'll be named new manager.
Yeah.
Hold on. How many games are left?
The manager.
13.
12 games left, Bandy.
12 is it?
Y'all got 12. Other teams have more or less. It's fucked up this season.
36 points. 36
Yeah.
points.
And that's a lot of points, people. That's a lot of points.
That's a lot of points, yeah. But guys, thank you all for joining us today, and thank you everybody. Thank you everybody who's in the comment section. I hope you guys got a chance to at least get something off of your chest and feel maybe a little bit better, and feel like maybe some of your Leeds fans feel the same way you do. Maybe they don't. But at least you got a chance to talk. But remember, Leeds United fans, you guys showed me a lot about what a fan base can really be, especially when times have been really hard, and And so this is your chance as a fan base to come together and show us, this is what happens when a fan base gets behind their club 100%, even though they may hate the decision, even though they may be split on a decision. Don't become Banter FC, which is Arsenal, like we're divided and we're in fucking 4th place and like fucking divided and hate each other. So I hope that that we continue to see a strong, somewhat united Leeds United fan base. But thank you guys for being here on the show and for speaking your minds. All right, any last words?
Thanks for having us on, guys. And all I'm going to say is now, we march on together, and up the league we go, and we'll be staying up, and we'll be marching up to the European places next season with Jesse March. Come on, Leeds. That's
all right, you guys. Before you leave, hit the like,
Thanks,
subscribe,
John.
share, all that stuff. Love you guys. Peace from Brooklyn, y'all.
Cheers, mate.
Aye.